please.
Kills mom.
All right, we will call this first joint public hearing to order. The purpose of this public hearing will be to receive public input on the following related request by Ideal Core Holdings LLC for a conditional use permit. We'll start out with a roll call. The Planning Commission, Commissioners Zabruski's gone, Commissioner Kennedy, here. Commissioner Peterson, here. And myself, here. Commissioner Wagner,
Yep.
Engineer Hind.
Yes, sir.
Who are we missing?
Kelly. Yeah. I'm gonna do a roll call of the village board and start with trustee Peterson. Here. And got Josh.
Here.
Brian. Corey.
Here.
And myself, and then excused this evening is Tracy and Kelly.
All right, I'm gonna turn it over to Ben for a update overview.
Yep, so this is a conditional use request for Ideal Core Holdings. Subject property is located at West 231 South 7680 Big Bend Drive. It is zoned B4 Highway Business District. Ideal operates as a permitted use under that zoning. They submitted a concept plan several months ago with some development ideas for the parcel that involved dividing off several lots with a variety of light manufacturing to commercial type uses, more light manufacturing. They are coming in with an interim proposal. They're calling it interim. They have not specified any term in their proposal, but it's an interim proposal for an equipment rental area. It would be located parallel to the highway. If you were facing the business, it would be to the left of their current business, so northwest of the current access road. It would be served by that current private access road. They're proposing a gravelled area slightly under an acre. They would be displaying equipment for customer rental. Ideal this would be somewhat of an ancillary business to Ideal. It's a separate business, but the administrative services, it's my understanding the administrative services would function through their existing building. And so customers would come through Ideal, park there, interact with staff there. There may be some, and they can explain exactly how it would work, but there would be a lot more customer interaction at the Ideal spot than in the storage area. They are indicating that because this is interim, they're not proposing any screening at this time, and the current proposal is just under the acre trigger for stormwater management. I'm happy to discuss anything else later on or after the public hearing, but I think that's those are the basics of the request. Applicant, maybe speak now, just to provide details of the question.
Thank you for your time this evening. Brian Deplius with SEH Engineering Surveying Architecture Firm. We're here representing Rick Rivera and Christine regarding the proposal before you. As Ben had mentioned a few months ago, came before you with a conceptual plan, kind of overall plan for the site. I think when looking at the site and some of the improvements that would have to be done in phase one, upgrading a private road to a public road standard with stop requirements. We're talking a substantial investment before anything started moving forward. So they purchased the neighboring property about 3 years ago. If you've been by the property, there's been lots of improvements. The property in question we're talking about today, purchased a few months ago. You've already seen some activity on it, cleaning up of the property. Rick is a resident, lives within 5 minutes of this site, so really fully invested. Started seeing his business move forward, wants to continue to grow that business, and move forward with some interim plans and then ultimate plans for some of the things that we talked about a few months ago at the Planning Commission. So right now, a small designated area on 17 acres, less than an acre of the site for outdoor contractor equipment, rental and use. They operating a contract equipment rental business that supports and complements kind of the entire ideal campus that they're shooting for long term for the site. I think a lot of the items that were brought up by staff, the planner, both the planner and the engineer, can be addressed, and we can go through those things if you'd like. But really, it's seen as, we refer to it as an interim use, and I think everyone's aware of approvals and things like that have happened over the last few months. Hopefully there's sewer coming to the area. Hopefully there's potential for more in this site. Don't want to do a heavy lift of investment into this site, then have to rip it out for something in a 3 to 5 year period. I know Ben put a time frame of 2 years in potential proposed conditions. I think that's a reasonable time frame to kind of see what Rick and Christine are doing with the business and show that it can operate in a reasonable manner. Certainly can work with Mr. Hine on concerns regarding scaling it down a little bit to make sure we're not exceeding 1 acre of work in the area. Wetlands, have our natural resource person just verify that no area in here is being affected by wetlands. Soils are Hochheim and Teresa. Soils, I am a certified soil tester. Generally not wetland soils. All the maps aren't indicating, but I wouldn't disagree with you. There are some low spots on there, and we just want to verify that it's not being affected in that portion. And as for stormwater runoff, once again, not looking at an ultimate plan for the entire site. Don't really want to do that deep dive right at this time. Made sure we had enough separation, roughly 150 feet before it really hits culvert grass swales. So you'll be going through grass swales, kind of a sheet flow effect, not a direct effect. The grass will be a good infiltration measure, so it's really unconnected there. So that's kind of how we looked at this and said, how can we work with this as a temporary use and still move things forward. So with that, I guess we can open to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thanks. Are there any public comments? Any public comments? Third and final call for public comments. Will?
Just make sure that your engineering group verifies with DOT that they meet the FDM drainage submittal. I have to remind people of that all the time. It usually gets lost in the wash, so. I believe it's chapter 13 in the facilities development manual.
Do you care if I ask a question during the meeting?
Go ahead.
Brian or to the applicants, I know we talked about this, Brian, and you seemed to indicate there would be no issue with it, but there's I'm just going through the conditions here. Most of them are very standard. We've addressed the ones I circled as significant 2-year term, but the other one was the deed restriction piece. Staff's concern would be that this is being proposed as ancillary, and there's nothing legally in place that prevents conveyance of the lot with that gravel area, and it would just require that there's some agreement that the lands are held together, as long as this arrangement is being provided. Obviously, there's gonna be future development, and that arrangement may cease or no longer be needed, but that, I just wanted to make sure you guys were comfortable, because that's a significant condition that's being hung on the property owner.
Yeah, and I think, and Rick, you can chime in also, but I think we looked at it and said that's reasonable, because we are asking for this, we're showing some combined use, we don't necessarily want to combine the properties in that regard, but some combined use, so if at some point in time, something changes on his behalf, you would simply have to come before this group again and say, hey, we're parting ways, we're clearing this off the property and things like that.
Or it could be written to terminate with the CUP for the gravel temporary interim storage use?
Yes.
There wouldn't be, I don't think, it wasn't written with an expectation this would be a perpetual encumbrance of the property, just simply, while we're kind of using this with this, that we hold it together legally,
Right.
because they're separate parcels. So that was my
Any
intent.
concerns?
No.
Great.
There is no fencing like around this area, correct?
There is not. Really, security is mostly handled through systems at their existing building. You can see the property. Probably look at some additional security measures in terms of cameras and things like that.
So the gravel is just gonna be, because it's so close to that 1 acre, I'm sure that's why you kept it under 1 acre. What's to say that that's not gonna slowly expand out a little bit more for,
I would say generally compaction. You know, you're doing the work, but and like I said, I think we can work with Will and make sure it's scaled down. The amount of equipment that they're looking at right now isn't substantial. It's 1 acre. It's not a huge site, but we will certainly keep under that.
If there are no more public comments, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
make a motion to close the public hearing. I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Oh.
Right? No.
James got to close it for the board.
The board voted not to.
Your turn.
Any of the village board members have any questions, comments, or concerns at this point? Entertain a motion then to adjourn the first public hearing.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Is there a second? Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion? And call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Mr. Chairman?
This public hearing is now closed. On to the next one. Joint public hearing. Purpose of this public hearing will be to receive public input on the following related requests from Matthew Strickler and Madeline Strickler to amend the zoning map. Start over roll call. Commissioner Wagner.
Yep.
Commissioner Peterson.
Here.
Commissioner Kennedy.
Here.
Myself, Ben, Tom and Kelly are absent.
Roll call of the village board. Corey?
Here.
Brian?
Here.
Josh? Here. Myself? Is here. Greg?
Here.
And Kelly and Tracy are excused. Mr. Chairman?
Thank you. Ben, update?
Yeah, so this is another request that was in front of you for concept review. The Strickler family's trying to subdivide a lot for single-family use. The larger farm parcel has agricultural overlay zoning across it, and so they're just seeking to remove that since they'll no longer be farming that 1 acre. They would just be requesting to remove it across the 1 acre. And that's simply to support the CSM request that will be before you tonight.
Thank you. Are there any public comments? Any public comments? public comments? All right, if there are no public comments, I will entertain a motion to close this public hearing.
I'll make a motion for the second public hearing.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Planning Commission's portion of the public hearing is done.
Anyone care to make a motion to adjourn the village board portion of the public hearing?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion? We call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right, we will move on to our regular Planning Commission meeting. So start out again with a roll call. Commissioner Wagner.
Yep.
Commissioner Sonberg.
Here.
Commissioner Peterson.
Yep.
Commissioner Kennedy. Commissioner Bruce B. Renner are absent. Item 2, consideration and approval of minutes from Thursday, March 19th, 2026 joint public hearing and Thursday, April 16th planning commission meeting.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'll make a motion to approve the joint public hearing minutes of March 19th as presented.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And did you review under more old business? Everything in that?
I drafted them.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that the language was correct.
Yeah, because it would have been everything in the report,
plus the additional.
Yep, and it was dark sky, storage containers, and then just to reference the findings. So I think that's solid. And then a decision sheet was also, a written decision of the plan commission and of the village board was issued as well, consistent with all this stuff.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of planning session April 16th.
One second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving along, item 3, new business. A, review, discussion, and possible recommendation of request by Ideal Core Holdings LLC, applicant and property owner for a conditional use permit and site plan to allow an outdoor contractor equipment rental use on property located north of West 231 South 7680 Big Bend Drive, tax key number BBV 2060999-005. The subject property is 17.6 acres in size and is zoned B4 Highway Business District. Ben?
All right, well, I gave you the lowdown. I think the applicant provided the details of what they're trying to do. We heard on the record that they are agreeable to the conditions that staff are recommending. I do think with the interim defined as 2 years, I'd imagine there'd be some ability for them to come back and at least have a discussion with the village to extend that if warranted, with the agreement that they de-restrict the parcels to hold them together while this arrangement's in place, with the agreement to downsize this so that there's no concern that the as-built area will be 30 acre. That I think that the purpose and intent of the ordinance is being met, and again, because of those conditions. I don't think as permanent this meets your standards. You'd want landscaping, you'd want hard surfaces, you'd want several things that they have explained why they don't want to provide at this time. But I think 2-year arrangement is a reasonable in term, and I understand why they wouldn't want to do all that stuff if it was just for 2 years. So I think this would be in my opinion, an acceptable way to allow something that falls short of your typical standards to occur as they move towards the concept that seemed to be received pretty favorably by the company. I did hand out a conditional use worksheet that has the considerations for conditional use from 1625. In the first part, it has all the conditions that they have agreed to meet verbatim from the report, and I don't think they mentioned any change to those. And so obviously if there are conditions the commission wants to add, modify, that's within your purview. But I just encourage you to include your findings in any decision that you guys make.
How many pieces of equipment are you expecting to have?
I mean, currently, we probably have 4 trailers, 2 mini excavators, 5 skid steers, and 2 dump trailers.
And is it, you're looking to expand that?
Not really. I think what I really want to do is just get the equipment down there so we can generate some money while it's sitting idle. You know, we might get a couple pieces here and there. Am I going to turn that into a standalone rental area? No. I want to see if sewer and water come to the area, and then we can readdress things and possibly scale it a little bit better than what it is.
Just my concern is, without any kind of screening or temporary screening now, you know, as you grow your operation, next thing you know, there's 30 pieces of equipment in a trailer with flat tires that you see on the road that I would look for some kind of screening so that
Yeah, and if the business scaled to that state, you know, there's 17.64 acres there. There's 3 acres directly behind my shop to the east. And so, that area is appealing for me to expand my business if it gets to that point.
You're gonna operate this within the same hours of operation as you're not gonna expand your hours of operation for
No.
this? Haven't seen anything out there for that.
No additional signage.
So we put in a permit to have an LED sign on the current property that we run our business out of now. We've been kind of holding off on putting that sign up because we just don't know what's gonna happen with
Sure.
sewer and water and stuff like that, so. Yeah,
And we talked a little bit about that today. A lot of your businesses is contractors that you work with, web leads, you know, people find it. That way it's not generally necessarily a big sign on the highway that's gonna stop somebody and say, oh, by the way, remember I need a backhoe or a skid steer this weekend, I should stop in here.
Is there something that's gonna automatically bring us back on the agenda for the 2-year time period?
How we worded it here. So this will just sunset unless extended or renewed by the plan commission. We could add upon petition. Is that what so I don't think it would be, I mean, it'd be good to clarify if it's the requirement of the plan commission to review the 2 years or.
That's kind of my thought. Sometimes some of this stuff just
Yeah,
gets.
well, I think,
Oh yeah, 10 years ago we did that, and there was a 2-year expiration, and you're still operating.
well, I mean, it's sunset, the way it's written, it would sunset in 2 years from approval. What I'm bringing up is if they wanted to discuss extension, I think I would read this as they'd have to come before, but we could make it clearer that unless extended, unless upon petition extended or renewed, or upon petition extended or renewed by the village plan commission.
Yeah.
And that would require that they
Bring it back.
bring it back prior to the 2 years, because we don't want to track that stuff.
Right.
yeah.
I'm hoping that you guys are going with the other part of your plan.
Yeah, all right, so do we.
Yeah, so they come back.
It's just one of those things is that, you know, the question is when did we approve that and how long have they been doing that without?
So if it's this way, then we don't track it. They come back prior to, otherwise they have an expired CUP and they would have to ask for it all, go through the process again, I guess.
Would you envision it being a, you know, if it's a year and 9 months, they come into the office, fill out a new application? or would-
Well, if it's upon petition, I think you could discuss extension. I have to talk to the village about what they formally want to process a request like that. I don't know that we need to go through a whole public hearing again, unless you really want to, Brian.
No.
No, I wouldn't see the need for a public hearing.
No, it would be discussion about why, about.
Come back as an agenda item and extend it for
For just cause, I would imagine it'd be
8
a
months,
discussion
another 2 years, whatever
of
years.
just cause and.
Good to talk about it now, because we will forget
Yeah.
1 year and 9 months.
Yeah, and now we know it's not our job to remind you. That's the best part about
Yeah,
it.
you got it off of your plate and put it on our plate.
Hey, that's right.
They're back. I had to check in with them. So interstate's open.
Is that from this morning's accident?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I drove past, I saw an exploded semi, what,
Yeah, the one semi rear and another semi.
where it was all one lane, right?
Do you have any questions or concerns?
No, I've reviewed everything plus everything that we had from the last packet. I'm good with everything.
I'll make the motion to approve the CUP with the recommendations from Ben
And I'll second that.
and the comments from the engineer.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I just wanna,
Yes.
just as a friendly modification of that motion, perhaps point to the applicant with the conditions
Item
has
number 4.
met the findings of 1625.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Jamie, you were the second one.
Yes, I was.
The next step for that is village board,
Yes, June 4th.
June 4th.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Good luck. Item B, review, discussion, and possible recommendation of request by Matthew Strickler, Madeline Strickler, applicants on behalf of the Howard R. Strickler and Maxine M. Strickler Revocable Living Trust, property owners to amend the zoning map to remove the AO agricultural overlay district from approximately 1 acre of land associated with the proposed CSM for the purpose of creating a 1 acre residential lot. The subject property is located at South 82, West 23480 Artesian Avenue, tax key number BBV 2069997-006, and is zoned R2 residential district. Ben?
All right, so again, we will be talking about the certified survey map in a moment. This is a rezone request to remove 1 acre of agricultural overlay district. The ordinance does not provide a lot of guidance in terms of this. Clearly, this district is intended to preserve agriculture. That's about as much guidance as we get in terms of going through a rezone process. I think from a practical standpoint, I would typically look at when lands are being removed from some type of farm preservation. Are they doing a reasonable job to preserve the remaining agricultural tillable acreage, or carving it up in a way that makes it hard to get to? And that's not the case here. So I have no concerns from a staff standpoint about the removal. I think this was the intent to allow property owners to unencumber their lands from that strict zoning, to seek the uses of the underlying base zoning district. I'm not sure I even understand the district itself, since they get no tax benefits like you would in agricultural preservation, but, and I did ask the property owners if they wanted to, at this point, remove the whole thing, and they want to move forward with just an acre, and that's their prerogative. So, staff have no concerns about the rezoning request. I think we are just saying that we want to make sure that it's consistent with the CSM. So should that CSM need to get changed, then I think we just want to, we would just want we'll have to talk about that, because I think that might be problematic and require them coming back here, because we are rezoning specifically described lands. But the goal is for this to be consistent with the certified survey map. So I have no reason to believe that'll have any issues, so just wanted to point that out.
I'm gonna pick on Don.
Yes, Mr. James.
Just access wise, look at it from a fire perspective. I see the preservation, the road reservation off of Scenic there. Is there a culvert or any access off of there at all?
No.
So it would be basically us coming off of, so this is gonna be an Artesian Avenue address?
Right.
Okay. Just make sure that access in the event.
We've talked to Bill.
I would talk, you talk to him?
That is really only about 50 yards down the road from where Jason and Kristen are
Okay.
now.
Okay,
And obviously, we're aware of, the turning radius thing, and
Right.
what kind of driveway you need, and yes.
just for a plan, I mean,
The
just
last
look.
thing I want is to have a problem, I'll be honest.
Right,
It's,
right, and we just wanna make sure we get, good access in regards to that, since we're not coming off of Scenic at all.
Right.
The access then off of Artesian is gonna be reasonable for everybody to get back there.
We have, again, he addressed kind of the farm side of it. And they need access for that also. So there's a good driveway there that they can take, the grain trucks in and out, but the equipment, even semis, go in and out.
The
at
only, and
times.
the only other thing is just maybe making sure we have the addresses properly posted. That would be my only other
Yes,
concern.
because
I don't wanna be going to Maxine's house and saying, hi Maxine, how you doing?
in my world, I still go.
to the one that's burning.
In my world, I still go to the grocery store and stuff, but I guess you get everything in the world delivered now.
Correct.
So, yeah, we have discovered that not only addresses, but signs saying to this house deliveries and to this house deliveries, because it goes beyond me, but that's how things get taken care of in the world, so. He did mention about the agricultural zoning. That kind of goes back to my dad and his concerns over the fact that we do like to have cows. And it really kind of covers the basis that we don't have them all the time. They come and go as the weather changes, and we just didn't want to have to ever go to people and say, well, yeah, you're in a residential neighborhood, the cows are mooing and this and that. If we had the agricultural overlay, it was able to take care of any of those signs. So that was the main reason behind that. Thought it was there, and you're right, there's no other incentive other than the grass gets cut.
There'll be also on the chief's desk, Chief Ledwood's desk is a note that we will have fire training up there. Everybody's familiar with this layout.
You're welcome anytime.
I know that.
I'll make a
Thank
motion,
you.
I'll make a motion to approve based on the recommendations of the planner.
If I may just ask a few questions of Mr. Greenberg. We received this today, so we ran over it just quick, but if you could just clarify just a couple things for us on your, it's page 5, certified survey map.
I'll tell you what, that's
Conditions.
literally, the CSM is the next item on the agenda.
Oh.
So, And I don't mean to cut you off, but we'll have a chance to get to that
Got
anyways,
it.
and then we're just, because I'd imagine some of the technical stuff you'll want to discuss, so.
Just a little bit, yeah.
No, that's fine.
Okay,
I-
thank you. No problem. So this is the
You're
zoning issue.
stopping yourself from getting an approval here.
This is the zoning, and the next one would be it.
Got it.
Got it, thank you.
All right, so I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Who's the second?
Welcome to the neighborhood.
Great. Item C, review, discussion, and possible recommendation of a certified survey map request by Matthew Strickler and Madeline Strickler, applicants on behalf of the Howard R. Strickler and Maxine M. Strickler Revocable Living Trust property owners to create a 1 acre residential lot. The subject property is located at South 82, West 23480 Artesian Avenue, tax key number BBV 2069997-006, and is zoned R2 residential.
All right, so again, this is the reason for the rezone request. This is again going to be similar to the last land division on the parcel. This will be a lot that has access via future public road reservation. So there's a corridor to provide access for a future public road, but the physical and current access will be provided via private shared driveway to Artesian. And so I just wanted to note that this is an arrangement that the board can waive those frontage standards and has, this would be the second time. And so there was a broader policy discussion about, at some point in time, the intent was to see a road come through. So I did not include that in any notes, but now might be a time to include a note about no additional, or this is the last one, or something of that nature. So that was a discussion that was had at concept review. Other than that, in terms of the technical stuff, most of it is just technical. There was a question about soil testing.
Yeah.
And so have you guys
Scheduled for
engaged?
Tuesday.
Perfect.
Yes.
And so staff just want to note that they hadn't done the tests yet. And so I would imagine you guys want to make sure that the septic reservations are on site and not through easement somewhere else. So staff are recommending that nothing get approved until they demonstrate that there's suitable on-site soils for septic, so that they don't have to deal with easements or change lot lines. But provided they can demonstrate that, staff have no concerns about the proposal. And then Form A, did you know if they had, the soil tester had you talk about Form A tests or anything? Will, do you want to just speak to that? You'll be able to do a better job than I.
Waukesha County has what they call a basement wetness standard. Village of Big Bend enforces that, whereby your basement floor needs to be a foot above estimated high groundwater. It protects you and it protects the village. I would say that if you know approximately where your home's at, your septic's gonna be way in the back, shoot a hole up front, just so we know where that groundwater is. Because that way you don't have to call him back. It's just one extra hole and he's already mobilized in there.
Yeah, I believe when we did that in 2019, yeah, there was a level of, here's the 30 inches down modeling, and then they did go down.
8 feet usually is.
Yeah, I believe it was. Jason is right there, and he has a regular basement. I think it's even a 9-foot basement.
And the thing is, you got enough relief there, so you can probably engineer a drainage system, even if you get into the groundwater. It just may not be on the same property at that point.
I don't know, the neighbors, they're tough.
Oh my God, and God, they're cranky.
Yeah, back there in the chair, she looks nice, but man.
He's making fun of you.
So you have questions though? I know these guys may have questions, but I cut you off, so I didn't want to.
No, please, feel free, if anybody has questions.
I don't want you to forget your questions. And so again, a lot of the technical things staff are looking for are just simply, lot one, we're just asking the surveyor to show the mapped wetlands from the county GIS. So that's just a desk thing you can add from the desk.
Okay, that's item 8, you're saying?
That would be item 8. Waukesha County.
From the desk, meaning you just superimpose something kind
You got
of
it.
onto the.
Yeah, and they're gonna say this was not a field located feature, this was coming from the Waukesha County
Yeah.
GIS. Again, that
That's
just
what our
makes,
question was.
yeah, that's why when you win the lottery and you, and then you sell the property, somebody knows that there's map features out there that need further investigation, that's all. And that's similar to the note about the isolated resource area. Again, these are just technical requirements.
Yeah.
The surveyor can do these from the desk.
Because we assume that's what you're speaking of, the woods sort of thing?
Probably.
It seems
Yeah,
like that's.
I'm guessing that's how that sewer pack has that wooded area mapped.
I'm not really thinking of Box Elder and Buckthorn as real natural
Well, again, whether or not
resources, but.
whether or not it is or is not, that's a discussion with sewer pack.
Yeah,
They
I
match
gotcha.
it, and so we
I
just.
got it. From the air, it looks like trees.
Yeah, and then
Gotcha.
if somebody actually wanted to come in and build a home site, then they'd have the discussion with sewer pack of whether or not it is or it isn't. And then, so we flag it, and then whoever's dealing with that later on, there's documentation that there's a
Okay.
resource out there.
That doesn't make it an unbuildable lot, it just makes
Correct.
something you have to work
It's
around.
simple documentation of.
Got it.
Yep, because you're going through the CSM process, and
Yeah.
this is when all these standards need to be provided, the easements, the notes, things of that nature.
Yeah, because that happened in
Yeah, it looks worse than it is. This looks worse than it
2015, I
is.
think they changed all that.
Yeah.
Dad, rest his soul, was,
Again, I think just getting the soil tested, and I would imagine you'll be fine. Well, just looking at the soils out there, I'm not a soil tester, but I anticipate
Right.
if it worked for your,
Yeah,
yeah.
sounds good.
Everything
So
over
basically,
to the west
if
and
we-
Scenic Ridge was pretty good, wasn't it?
I'm sorry.
Everything over to the west and Scenic Ridge, I don't even know
Those
if
are
there's
all
a mound
mounds.
system.
Yeah, they're
Until you
mounds.
get down to the north end near the wetland, I think everything up on the hill was okay.
The four by us are all mounds, and I know Jason and Kristen have a mound.
Okay.
Mom and I both have conventionals, so last time it was within an inch or two, and I'm like, whatever you say.
So basically, what you're looking for then would be a motion to include in that motion contingent on soil testing?
I think there's a, let me just,
I think it's-
We're
I think I have it in here.
We're pretty confident with that, but I understand, it's not a lot until you, it's not a buildable lot until you have a septic site.
Number 7?
Six.
Well, six, I think, six is to address lot 1, because you guys aren't doing soil tests on the big lot now. So that's just a note on lot 1 that soil tests haven't been done on this lot, that future, if you want to do a home, you're gonna have to do soil investigation. I think, I didn't know where they'd be at. I think because I didn't know if they'd had, where they were scrambling to get that done. So if they're not there yet, I think that you want to add a condition that, until a preliminary soil boring can be approved by Waukesha County, the board won't sign the CSM. And then they could go all the way through at their risk of getting your board approval, and then once they get their approval from Waukesha, then they can just come in for signatures and don't have to wait for a meeting.
I'll make a motion to that effect.
Thank you.
I'll second.
I gotta remember what I just said.
Brilliant.
It's hard to do minutes and run meetings, I'm just gonna tell you. It's hard to run 2 minutes and run meetings at the same time.
The approval, so they don't have to come back.
We'll remind
Great,
you.
that's the only part I heard.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, Jamie's motion, who seconded?
Tom.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you,
Good luck.
everybody.
Thanks.
Item D, discussion possible action on a request by Joe Gallimore, applicant for approval of a site plan of operations to allow occupancy of a contractor office and storage use within Unit 4 of the multi-tenant industrial building located at West 224 South 8535 Industrial Drive, tax key BDV 2068033. Applicant Joe Gallimore, owner Jamie Peterson. The subject property is approximately 1 acre in size and is zoned I-1 Industrial District. Ben.
All right, this is a plan of operation request, so it's a re-tenancy or maybe it was a rebuilt fire damaged building, so maybe it's the first occupancy, but it's an existing building approved a year or two ago. for extreme exteriors with some additional leasable space for future tenants. Plan commission approved that, subject to when tenants come in, they need to get plan of operation approval from the plan commission. So Joe Gallimore is proposing to use suite 4, unit 4, for indoor personal automobile and garage type storage. He's indicated no outdoor storage will occur with the request. I don't know that staff have any concerns. The use is, the property is zoned for the use. There doesn't to be any impact at the parking being provided. There is no outdoor storage. Is the applicant here? So do we know if he's proposing his own dumpster? I guess that'd be one thing. Greg, you don't know.
No, he is not.
No dumpster? Okay, so there'll be no outside footprint whatsoever other than some employees parking or in parking or whatever, so. The only conditions that staff are offering are basically memorializing the request, memorializing no outdoor storage. And that's really about it. Seems like a pretty straightforward request in the industrial district.
Can I ask a silly question? Nobody's sitting in here except for village representatives. Do some of these folks think this meeting starts at 7?
The agenda said,
I understand,
Okay.
but those that have been here before,
I don't know, because I think the next guy isn't here because he read the staff report, would be my guess, and he'd rather enjoy his evening. That's all that's left is Freedom Fireworks, right?
correct.
right,
Yeah. And everyone else was here, so.
I get it. I'm just wondering if Gallimore and Freedom. I'm not saying we should stop, I'm just asking.
I mean, there was nothing posted, there was nothing
I
posted.
understand what you're saying, but, you know, the agenda was posted immediately following.
No, I get it, but
For the Galvin, I'll make the motion to approve the site plan with those conditions.
I'll second it.
Yeah.
Kind of needs
You're running
Right.
in, Warren.
A motion and a second, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Oh,
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 4, old business, discussion / action items. A, discussion and possible action on a request by Freedom Fireworks LLC for approval of a site plan of operations to allow for the seasonal retail sale of consumer fireworks with incidental sale of local products at the property located at South 63 West 24015 Town Line Road, tax key BBV 2025990. Applicant Freedom Fireworks LLC. The subject property is approximately 1.26 acres in size and is zone B4 Highway Business District. This item was tabled at the February 19th, 2026 meeting. Thanks.
So you guys do have the reports, there is a recommendation by staff in your reports. I did provide the applicant with the report. He had reached out with that supplemental information that was sent to you guys very recently. He clearly hadn't been sent the report, so I made sure that he had that. I didn't receive any response from him beyond that. Nevertheless, I believe he did receive the staff report in advance of the meeting. So as the report notes, it's not really a site plan issue at this point, or we can't, in my opinion, we can't get there yet because there are two village board policies. One is a per capita limit on fireworks businesses, and the other is a brick and mortar requirement to only be able to provide sales in a building and not in a tent. And so the applicant did pursue getting some of that policy adjusted at the town village board level. There didn't appear to be any interest to change policy. And so the plan commission brought this back to act timely and not just sit on the request. And so the recommendation is to deny. It's in conflict with village ordinances. And so I don't see how the plan commission could approve something that is in conflict with village ordinances.
So would they have to go through,
We would have to go
and try to change the ordinances?
Well, for the per capita, yes, because you can't just grow the population, you have to
Right.
change that. The other, he could just get rid, he already went to 1 year of tent to brick and mortar, he'd have to just say brick and mortar.
The other question is in regards to the distance. 250, basically the ordinance, it's gotta be 250 feet away from any type of public facility and then he's right across the street from there, and he's gonna be too close. Even if they move their building further back?
That's only 105-foot road easement,
Yeah, so what,
so it would be within 250 feet.
assuming they build and occupy that,
And the other thing that I had mentioned to Ben was in regards to they're gonna need a conditional use.
I believe the fireworks were permitted, because that's how
Cause I thought
American operates.
Americans under a conditional use, if I remember correctly.
I think that changed. I'd have to look back, but I think I looked at that when he first applied, that he didn't need to go through CUC, but I guess we'll worry about that if
Right.
a million things change. Oh, it's timely. Hey, we were literally, you're talking about how folks may have thought the meeting started at 7.
Yes.
So you showed up literally while we were.
Very cool.
So I just explained my report, so I mean, honestly, if you wanna, I've just explained to them why my recommendation, I've explained about the village board, they know about the policy. That's an issue because there would be their approval would not comply with the village ordinances. And so I didn't know if you wanted to, you're here, I hate to not give you an opportunity if you weren't, or you.
Wait. Thank you so much, Dustin Hine from Freedom Fireworks. Good to see you again. I guess we've trimmed it down. We're requesting just for 1 year out of the tent, and we'll start building that building, basically. We have some plans already started, some things already done. And, I guess some special recommendations or conditions we'll definitely comply with. And I'm here to answer any questions or continue this discussion. Here's my sister.
So I mean, in terms of just policy, because I think that the issues are, on the books, there's a per capita, and this is not editorial comment, I like this rule, I don't like this rule, but it's an ordinance on the books that we have a per capita limit of the number of businesses. There is a requirement for brick and mortar. It's not any type of temporary allowance, it's thou shalt. And then there is could you explain that one? I don't have the.
So there's a safety distance of 250 feet in regards to basically a radius around in regards to any type of public, and that's gonna interfere with what's going up across the street.
And I believe we're within that distance.
No, they're not there yet, they haven't occupied, but still, it's that's a third reality, but the other two are on the books, and so I think.
And the other thing we would need to confirm is whether a conditional use permit would be required for this. And I think a conditional use would be required for this, but we would have to verify that.
But I think more importantly, we can't even entertain a 1-year tent. You could give us a 10-day tent, and we couldn't entertain it because it's a little bit sarcastic, but the point is, they couldn't approve even that. I appreciate you're moving in the right direction, but the issue is until that ordinance changes, and then there's the per capita. So again, you could get through the brick and mortar by deciding to build today, but you would still have to convince the village board to amend their per capita limits until the village, or wait till the village grows enough to offer a second store.
Did I not apply for a conditional use though?
Well, and we can look at that. I believe you applied for the necessary use permits for the use. I may have erred regardless. I think there's still the policy issues. Those are ordinances that sit outside of zoning.
Yes.
Right, the zoning says certain uses are allowed. It also says you gotta comply with all the other ordinances on the books.
Sure.
And they happen to have some fireworks-related ordinances that impact what you're trying to do. And so those things sit here and
And I guess we're asking if there's any chance that the village board would reconsider at the next board meeting if we get approval tonight.
Well,
So,
I was just gonna say, you could ask them, but this is the plan commission. I know you got some familiar faces.
Correct, yeah.
But these guys are your,
Representation,
these are your, their focus is on land use zoning decisions. And so they're a committee of the board.
Sure.
Zoning related matters come through here for recommendation and sometimes for approvals of certain things. But you really need to talk, to the board. Because that really, the commission has no authority to change ordinance.
And it was denied, I mean, you've got the minutes?
Fair, well, right, I mean, I wasn't there, but I'd assume you were at the meetings.
Yes.
I mean, did you get the sense they were willing to change those?
not
things?
at the meeting, but maybe afterwards, there was some further discussion.
Well,
Yes.
again, you can have those discussions, that certainly, if you want to pursue those, it's just this body is being asked to entertain the request in front of them, and right now there are ordinances that prevent this from being a lawful use.
And there's no condition that can be put on the approval of a change? in
No,
ordinance?
because it simply doesn't comply. Right now, there's an ordinance on the books that says this use wouldn't, they're basically applying, we would be approving something that's not legal. Or they, not me, they would be approving something that's not legal per village ordinance. And it just,
We were asking basically, last time when the board had basically said no, they basically were questioning, would we be close and would we be too close with the 250-foot requirement? And also it came up that with the ordinance, the village attorney was very concerned about the ordinance because of the limitations with only
the per
one,
capita,
with only one business being allowed to
sure.
conduct business in the town. So that's why we were asking for you to recommend to the board to amend the ordinance basically for this year to allow the one-year tent sales so that there would be someone who could compete as well and not just one business was benefiting from the ordinance.
No, I understand what you're saying. I saw the same correspondence from the attorney. But again, it's not a, I'm not trying to be technical or difficult, it's just that is not a zoning or land division ordinance related matter, and so this committee, it's just simply not appropriate for them they wouldn't be giving recommendations on village finances to the finance committee. This is simply not the right group to make, they don't have standing to give these formal recommendations on these non-zoning matters. That they are certainly here to give recommendations on conditional use and use matters. I just think the board is the group you need to talk to directly about board matters, because this group just isn't the right group to weigh in on that particular, because it's not, it's a licensing, or is it in licensing?
Yeah, it's in chapter 10.
Okay.
Basically, offenses endangering public safety specifically in regards to section 10.01 sub D. Sub 1, fireworks sales, sellers permits, items.
Right.
Very aware of the ordinance, completely understand, there's no need to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, and I'm not, again.
There's no special board meeting that can take place.
Well, I think somebody could have, there's probably
I
a
guess
process
I've
to
been
request.
reaching out to board members for months now
Sure.
with zero response.
Gotcha.
And we could have done this in April's meeting to maybe go into May's meeting with the board, but now we're kind of,
We understood that the town has been very occupied with BRAC, that process, so we were patient, we paid attention to that. We learned about that, we definitely are within the 250 feet. We know, we all know what a football field looks like, it's definitely within that range.
Sure.
and
So,
we don't even believe that Breck qualifies as the public assemblage thing as well. That's for like city halls, churches, things like that, not a private soccer field. So, and again, that's been, I mentioned that 4 months ago, that could have been researched, but I guess it is not.
Are you guys aware of any, like, is there a request that we can pay for a special meeting if they wanna,
Right now, I mean, the village board back in March denied the request to change the ordinance. That's what the board voted on back in March. If all of a sudden there's a change and stuff, it would take a trustee to bring it back to the board.
I guess just to point it out, there was some board members vacant or absent at that meeting. It wasn't a full board, even though it was a quorum, I do understand.
And I guess that's what we're here, is we're hoping that we can bring it back to the board, basically. People were still curious. I know we did get a no, but there were still people who wanted more information and liked us and said there were a lot of folks who weren't here.
It basically was second and stated that more needed to be done about this. So we did wait a couple months to see if more would be done, but I guess more has not been done because we're still claiming the same issues as 3 months ago.
what about if they wanted to bring forward a code amendment? I mean, I don't know if they have any interest in doing that. I mean, I know what you said, and you told them what you guys said, and I understand, and I don't know that I would do that, but,
This village went through, until we locked down what our code was in regards to the fireworks and stuff. It turned a number of years before this, I mean, this has been in play now for about 16 years. Prior to that, we had tents all over the place. We had people standing in the middle of the intersections, fireworks this, fireworks this, tent here, tent there. It turned into something that was not good for the area. That's why we ended up doing pretty much what we did. We don't want to turn into, you know, the board at the time and turning into, you know, a location basically where we're having multiple stores. We felt at the time that one store was enough. We don't want to turn into having multiple stores all over the place in regards to it, because we felt that if we opened the door to multiple stores, we're gonna have, it's gonna turn it right away. I mean, you're not the only one to come to us.
Mhm.
There has been other fireworks places. I mean, they were bending over backwards to get their store in here, and the village said no.
Mhm.
You know, because just did not want to, right around the area, just have multiple fireworks stores.
And I guess I have to push back on this, sir. I don't understand how us adding R1, a landowner now,
And then.
where you have a limitation of one, where you can't bump it
Right,
to two. I don't understand how approving us is gonna open up your
And
town
then,
to
and
fireworks.
then the next fireworks store is gonna come in and say, well, you did it for them, why aren't you doing it for us?
But at least two is fair, sir. There's two everywhere. There's two in Raymond, which your ordinance was based off of.
Mhm.
There's two everywhere, except for Big Bend.
Mhm.
And that business was given 16 years to make their money back. That was stated 16 years ago that nothing was gonna be added because they wanted to respect the small business coming in and spending all their money. So they wanted to make some money back. And now it's time, they made their money back, and it's time for a second business to be allowed to operate here. I don't understand how adding us would turn into 15 tents. It's just showing your bias, sir. It really
It
is.
does, and I'll be blunt.
Sir, it is.
Mr. Hine, I'm gonna be honest with you. When it comes to the board, if this is gonna come to the board, sit on my lap, it's something that I'm not in favor of. I'm being honest
You're one of
with you. and
six, though,
straight-
sir.
and straightforward.
You seem to press everyone else. You seem to take control of the meeting at that board meeting and impose on everyone else. You
Because
didn't really say anything else.
No, but I've done my homework. I researched
But
our
they
ordinances
didn't, I guess.
to bring
They
that
didn't.
up.
There was a lot of mentions by the board about some unfamiliar things about fireworks, like my container blowing up and making a blast radius. That shows to me that someone didn't do their homework. And we gave them 3 months now to do their homework, and there's still misconceptions being stated. That public assemblage thing is not correct, sir. It's not. So, you can try and come up with things to prove your bias, but
We're just
you're all
here
wrong,
to
sir.
assure
I
you that
understand.
we're not trying to bring tents and
But-
flags and carnivals. We're trying to bring a fair competition and a fair market and fair, you know, what's fair in commerce, right? I mean, it's not fair to have an ordinance that's in favor of one business for 16 years They were able to have their tent, earn their money, build their building, and, you know, that was my dad's spot. They came in and competed, and then, you know, built their business, which is fair, but now it's been long enough, and we would like to, you know, build our, you know, this is a neighborhood, this is a village that we love, that we were born in or near, and we would like to really bring a great business back to it. So we're just trying to assure you that we're not trying to bring tents and carnivals. I brought pictures of a world-class, beautiful red and white tent that would really be great for just this year only. This is the 250th, and it's gonna make 164 look fantastic. And we're gonna make it look classy, we're gonna take care of it, and we will not let you down. So I'm just trying to reassure you, I know you're concerned about the, you know, the safety of the tents, so I have lots of people who will vouch for me, I have references, so I can assure you that we're not gonna bring, you know, anything that's not safe and absolutely traditional for the town, so. We were very patient this spring. If there's anything you can do to allow us to have our stand this summer, if there's any kind of code you can amend, we would definitely appreciate your effort.
I take it your name.
I'm Tina Hunt, I'm Dustin's sister.
Thank you.
Well, I don't know where they would go from here. I mean, they have done a lot of work to get to where they are. And they have changed a few things, but it's the ordinance that we have to try to do something with, and I'm not even sure where we start with that. Is it with the board or is it the public safety?
You would start with probably with public safety.
Is that meeting next week?
Tuesday, I believe.
It is next week, yeah.
Too late to get on the agenda, or are we still?
I'm not sure about that.
That would be a phone call to Katie.
But I think it's maybe more, you got a little more work cut out for yourselves in the following. A community can amend its ordinances, or somebody can petition to amend an ordinance. I'm not hearing any interest in the community of just going out and amending its ordinances. I think you guys asked that question, and now if you guys want to pursue it, it's more than coming to a meeting. It's about, well, okay, so what do you want to amend it to? I know what you're trying to do, and that's to get your business started. But you're asking them to change their ordinance, and so I think if you're trying to get something effectuated, you need to bring forward you know, a request to amend whatever ordinances you're seeking to amend.
And no offense, man, didn't we kind of do that though, sir?
No, well, I don't know, are you talking about the meeting at the board meeting?
Yes.
Well, I think, I wasn't there, but I think you had sounds like you had a discussion about their willingness to change their rules.
Yes, and that more needs to be done and discussed about, and
Yeah, but.
so it seems like we did that, sir.
Well, but it sounds like they
No
didn't,
offense.
no, it's okay, I wasn't there. It sounds like you didn't get, well, I don't know, either you
Correct.
got.
We got a no, correct, and then we spoke to other people, and there showed some interest, and there even was stated that more needed to be done, more
Okay. Well, if I
research
could
needed to
just-
be done, and I guess nothing was done.
We requested the time of the board again, but because of the emergency meetings with RAC, we weren't paid attention to.
Understood, but
We were
it- but it's
patient
This was submitted in December.
Yeah, and I guess
December.
what I'd say is, it sounds like you said in the after discussions, it sounds like you have the ear of a trustee, I don't know, and if you do, I also heard from Mr. Sonnenberg that a trustee could bring that forward for reconsideration, so I guess my recommendation is to talk to that trustee and
That's what we do.
go from there.
Mhm.
Anybody have any other, now, I guess for the group, do you want to provide them with additional time to work through the process? Staff had made a recommendation for denial based on the fact that these ordinances were in conflict. They're trying to seek changes.
There are two options, we can either deny or table again.
Deny, table, defer, of course.
What happens if it's tabled?
It would
Come back next month. If we defer it, we can put it on a future agenda. That doesn't put a time limit on it then. But yeah, there's no way we can approval based on the existing ordinances.
For the ordinance, there's a timeline where you have to publish it, public hearing, so you're talking 2-3 months.
It's a tight window.
To
Move forward.
get a change to the ordinance.
Well, I imagine in a month, you're gonna know if this is gonna go or not, otherwise you don't have time, right, for the fourth?
Correct.
So I guess if there was an inclination to table it for a month, sounds like they would have some certainty one way or another. If you guys wanna grace them that.
I would say, with everything that would have to be done, it's probably not gonna be able to happen this year. I mean, the way it sounds, but, but at least if you were, maybe to defer it, so if you wanted to try to keep this going and maybe get it done for next year.
Yes, that would be great, and then we can
But I don't
start.
know if it's, with all the stuff that has to be done in order to
Understood.
do this, I don't know if it's,
Understood. Mhm.
and you guys, I'm sure gotta start ordering stuff like
Yeah.
now already, you know,
Yeah.
and that's pretty big,
Mhm.
a pretty big, tent that you
So
have.
there's no way to do an emergency meeting for us, being that we were, asking for time for the board for many months, and we're just ignored. Because I understand that we were ignored because of this big business opportunity with BRAC. We were trying to be supportive with that, but there's no way that we can get an emergency meeting to be considered for an amendment to the ordinance.
I can't answer to that, that would be the clerk of the village president.
Okay. Okay.
You can't just do it without.
I thought that the 24-hour notice, I get,
That's for just a regular meeting,
Okay.
for an ordinance change, you have to have
It's
two.
gotta be published in the workshop, so many days.
So we are already making plans for the building, you know what I'm saying? So why, if we could, table it, defer it, and we will continue working with building the building and present something to the board, a serious plan to build a permanent structure without the tent, if they would allow the second seller's permit.
Well, it's something that have to be brought to the board for that, right? So, would that just be a change of ordinance though?
And we can work on that over the next year, basically, or even the next couple months to get the approvals, and we can start the building plans. So we could at least go with that. So if that'd be.
I mean, a year, I almost wonder if it's better if you guys to just withdraw your request,
Mhm.
not have this body take any action,
Mhm.
because it's gonna be a different proposal altogether.
Correct, you're right.
I was only suggesting the table, if it was like 1 month where you could
Mhm.
still get this thing going for the tent, it just feels like, it would, I don't know how that works a year from now. If it's a
Sure.
totally different proposal, the ordinance could have changed, we may have a development next door, and
Mhm.
who knows?
Correct.
I feel like if you're talking about a year, you don't have to decide.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, these guys have to, I guess you do kind of have to decide tonight, because they have to decide what to do
Yes.
tonight.
And I guess if we could keep it active, we would need that approval, because then we could, we would need to start building, a couple, obviously the months to build, so we couldn't wait a full year to do this, but we could work on it over the next months. So that
But this would be a completely different plan.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, is there anything gonna happen in a
I
month?
think you basically have to start from scratch, to start with the ordinance change first,
Mhm.
kind of get your ducks in a row, and then,
Mhm. Yeah, that's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. Mhm.
You're just gonna withdraw it?
Yes.
Just provide something in
Yes,
writing?
absolutely.
Is there
We'll
any,
provide that.
well, I certainly appreciate your willingness. Is there any other feedback from the committee at this point, if they're willing to provide anything? Or questions?
Could we maybe start the discussion about the building? We're hoping to build a 6,000 square foot building. We were hoping to wait for the sewer and water to come. We have no idea what's gonna happen with that. But we're willing to make pay some extra expenses to do septic and our own tank or something like that until water and sewer is connected. We would request some containers outside, maybe up to 4. And I know Commissioner Kennedy, you mentioned that was an issue in the past. Maybe we can talk and discuss about that. I know Breck was given a couple little containers, maybe we could work something out. just because it saves her, it is the safest way to store fireworks.
The concern with the containers is they need to be treated as an accessory structure.
Yes.
So all the rules that would apply,
Sure.
building a shed,
Mhm.
having a foundation, and then it's of building, I mean, you can build a home out of containers,
Yeah.
as long as you comply with the building
Yeah.
code. And that's where the ordinance is, that you can use a container if you treat it
As an
as a
accessory
building,
structure.
and you follow the building codes.
Sure.
It's when you, the concern with Breck was, they may have kids in those
Mhm.
containers, and if they don't have, lighting and
Mhm.
exit paths, that's a building code
And
issue.
that's something we'll definitely can work on, or, you know what I mean, and absolutely, sir. So, we thank you all for your time. We really
Thank you.
do. Trustee Simon, you too, sir. Thank you so much for your time and even talking about this. We'll talk more, I promise.
One of the things you're gonna need to consider is if there is no sewer or water, you're gonna need a sprinkler system in there.
Yes, yes, just like, I'm thinking just like American, I think they have tanks.
Mhm.
That's what we'll have to do, so. But yes, I guess we'd be willing to withdraw this application and start fresh and work with the board to see till all the second fireworks, settlers permit. Mhm.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all so much,
Good luck.
appreciate you. Take care,
Hey, go ahead.
take care,
You
everyone.
guys are done already.
We're done?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Awesome.
we started early.
Well, I just came in to see all you guys and say hi then, I guess.
Thanks.
So Joe was all good.
Okay. Well, I guess while I'm here, did you discuss this whole?
I didn't get it, I was gonna just go there, but I didn't get a chance.
I don't know if you guys remember the planning commission, but like, he's just, it's not a business or anything, it's just private storage. When I talked to Kelly, we had to go through this whole thing, but I've got multiple people that are renting these for just personal storage. Do we still have to go through this whole, Lake Park, we had like an exemption for that if it's private storage, there was certain paperwork to fill out. And
Yeah, those
and
were-
they could do it at a staff level.
Right.
And if they were there was a certain triggers.
I've worked with communities where because we have, in Polk, they have like Rise Development and a lot of these sort of work play units, and they're tricky because some things are storage, all of a sudden you find the guy's working in there and there's no sprinklers,
Sure.
but we do have a process because some reviews are simple
Yep.
and don't need to come in from a commission because they don't know what they're reviewing, versus things that it needs to be triaged, but staff can do some stuff. I want to make sure fire department doesn't have concerns about what's being stored in there.
Yeah.
If there's ammunition and police and whatever it is, you just want to go through.
There would
But
still have to be some, at least, knowledge.
Yeah,
You know what
no,
I'm saying?
I believe it was written into the Lake
Yeah.
Park
Yeah.
developers agreement, but in this building's case, you don't have that written.
right,
So,
okay.
I think if the commission is interested in some staff level review of simple stuff, I think they could direct.
I know I got another one coming up that'll be
Yeah.
exactly the same, so.
I think those are things where you probably have to write it into your ordinance.
Oh.
But if there are straightforward things where it's like, why are we having people go to meetings? for
Where's
these things?
where's the cutoff, size-wise for having this done? You have storage units, and then you have storage units.
That's right. It's not
So,
straightforward.
Well, one's a rental and one's an ownership.
well, these are rentals.
Right.
Yeah, this isn't Lake Park, this is like our
Right.
extreme
So this is
exteriors.
rentals like Knurrs, but bigger. So everybody doesn't have to get an occupancy permit to store something there. So where is that cutoff? Is it, 500 square feet, or is it 200, 300, 400, you know what I'm saying?
And then there's personal, business storage.
Right, so
Start
it's
to
just
get-
personal storage. I'm just saying, I think we waste a lot of people's time. A lot of it can just go to the staff and be done.
Well, and some of it's just by right, because if you had like self-storage, if you had an approved self-storage facility, y'all would have approved it, and then they just lease to people, they come in and out and store their stuff, it doesn't go to anybody. A new tenant in one of those spaces is a reoccupancy, that's kind of what we're talking about. A reoccupancy of existing space where they're not making any changes, but sometimes this user has a huge water demand, right? And they're on a septic system. And it's, the tank is only sized, or there's a need for separate trap for whatever they're discharging, or whatever it is. Sometimes there's a need for review, but it doesn't always have to go in front of a plan commission, you know?
Yeah, when I talked to Kelly, she said, yeah, absolutely. And
Well, I mean, right now it does, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It can work.
Sure.
It can work with a system where the simple stuff can be done by staff, and then the stuff that needs the review, the qualitative review comes to plan commission. You just gotta write it into your, I don't think your code's set up that way. It probably just says like most, anything commercial changes, go to plan commission.
Okay, just so I know for the future, that's all.
Yeah, so, but, if they wanna get us, it's not a bad idea. If there's,
These storage buildings, I like to know what's in them.
yes, you would.
And I want to make sure that this person that's storing it
Well, that's
tells
fair
me
enough.
exactly
I
what he's
agree with
putting in.
that.
Well, and an inspection is sometimes.
Yeah, but I can't get into these buildings for inspection.
Well, but if there's a
Some of
process.
them I can't, some of them I can.
But I mean.
Sure we can. I got a Halligan tool.
Nah, I know, so do I, but I gotta, Jamie,
You can get any
Yeah.
car you want.
You
as
do
long as it
have,
tells
you do have a list with all the phone numbers, you can call and make an appointment.
make an appointment, like what? I can come in anytime, anyway.
Well, if there's nobody in the place, there's nobody there.
So you make an appointment.
Exactly. You wanna have keys to all the storage units?
Your point is.
But there at certain times, there are people there, and they, when I go by with the truck, and they see me, all of a sudden the doors are locked, and everything's closed.
Here comes Bill. with the ties.
So, I mean, we got all this stuff going on in Lake Parkland. I mean,
I don't know.
basically, it was supposed to be storage, basically, it was supposed to be this and that, all of a sudden you got a sweep ball or a super septic company in there cleaning out stuff and so forth, and they're changing their oil and everything else, and you can tell exactly where they are, because when the trucks are pulled out, you can see the tracks from the oil and stuff that they bring in.
Is that the street
If you
sweeper
think you can
business?
monitor every single place in town, then you're a better man than I.
Thank you.
Because it cannot be done.
Yes, it can be
Oh,
done.
come on, Bill. You know when somebody's gonna be changing their oil, for God's sake?
Yeah, right.
Okay, well, thank you, I guess,
Thanks.
we'll just do the occupancy as it is, and then you guys can make the decision moving forward.
The other thing I'd like to get on there, I don't know if it's out of order or not, but I talked to Katie about this, and her and I agreed that when people take occupancy of these buildings and so forth and everything else, that they got their occupancy permit right up in front by the front door. So when I come in there, I know that they've gone through this meetings, or if not, that's fine. It'd be a thing I like to have taken care of or done in the past, or in the future.
Makes sense.
Yep.
And if they're not, have taken the occupancy permits and they haven't done it, and Jamin is lax them, telling them not to, or Mr. Peterson directs people not to do, or whatever, well then.
Nobody said not to do their occupancy permits, you know.
Yeah, we can find them.
You want that in the record?
Let's keep this moving here. Item 5, planners report.
I have, no report tonight, or I forgot to bring it.
Beautiful. Item 6, Bill, fire inspector's report.
Inspections are still going on, everything is fine.
Excellent. Anything from Jason?
I have nothing received.
And none from him neither, I talked to
Engineer's
him.
report.
You should all have a copy of it. Highlights, next month, we're gonna be having a public hearing because we have to update chapter 14, land division ordinance. We have a draft prepared, I'll get a PDF to Katie along with the appropriate paperwork so we can get it in the paper. That way you guys will all have a look at it before the public hearing. There are certain things that were changed as a result of the changing of the law, and there were a few old statute references that were no longer correct, so. Basement groundwater, we talked about that with the stricklers earlier. I think we ought to be updating our erosion control ordinance because that probably hasn't been touched in 5-6 years. And we need to make sure it gets in there. I verified that the village did get a match grant from the DOT for Vernon Lane in the amount of about $35,000. Jamie, you asked me earlier tonight for a cost estimate. I will get that over to you as soon as I can. Got a couple ditching and culvert projects, one on Sunset View Drive, there's, I forget the fella's name, but that used to be owned, I think, by Larry Myers. That one home just, to the south of that detention pond. Neighbors are upset about his cattails in his ditch, but when you go out there, it looks like they're the ones that are contributing all the water, and that's why there's cattails in the ditch, so. Waiting to hear back, we've provided, insight to their contractor, and then the other one is, Mark Singer, I think it is, over on Parkview Drive. He's underneath the, power poles, he wants to put in a culvert there. Haven't been able to find anything relative to the construction plans for that development. I may have to call API in order to get that. MS4 map needs to be updated. Bordeaux Fields is moving along. It sounds to me like we're gonna be doing a proof roll on that on Tuesday so they can, start graveling the roads, so that thing potentially could get paved by early to mid-June. Eric also asked us to attend a webinar, a funding webinar, because of all the flooding. As you may know, what was it, Waukesha, Milwaukee, and Ozaki were declared a federal disaster area, and there is emergency funding available. One of the things that I thought, because Eric indicated there was flooding in industrial, is potentially we could look at upgrading that storm sewer system down into the Lake Park Lake. I don't have a real good feeling on what that would entail. I have to look a little more carefully at the construction plans through Lake Park, just to make sure we have sufficient depth, but I don't think you can go from a 15 to a 60, but you might be able to upgrade the pipes a little bit and get the water off that road a little more readily. It's more a question of what can and can't be done for a nominal fee, for lack of a better term, because if you don't get funding, you're probably not doing anything at that point, so. That's it.
Awesome, thank you. Correspondence, Amy?
Nothing.
Next meeting, Thursday, June 18th, 7 PM.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
One second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
I want an escort out of the building.
I'll take care of you
Someone want to
later.
grab the camera?
I want an
first?
escort.
You have the shortest guy.
Don't fall through the chair now. Yeah. You stepped on my foot.
It's good for you.
You got another foot.
I don't know which one's the power.